President Obama's chief spokesman says the popular Cash for Clunkers rebate program may not survive beyond Friday. The program ran out of money last week. The House voted to provide another $2 billion before leaving for summer break, but the Senate must also vote before its August vacation starts on Friday. White House spokesman Robert Gibbs says the rebate program is up and running. He says anyone who wants to trade in a less fuel-efficient vehicle for a higher mileage one should do so. But if the Senate fails to vote Friday, Gibbs says it's unlikely the program will be available next weekend and beyond. The government's Cash for Clunkers program is keeping local auto recyclers busy. Since the nationwide incentive began, thousands of vehicles have been cashed in exchange for more fuel-efficient vehicles. Although the incentive may run out soon, local automotive recyclers like James Councilman still have their hands full.
In a normal week, we would deal with probably 30 cars in a week, and now we're having to deal with about 120 to 130 cars in a week. So it's really increased, I guess, 400% increase in what we normally do.
The nationwide program is not only beneficial for the environment, it also helped the local automotive business. The incentive gave Councilman an opportunity to expand his normal inventory. He can sell all parts off the car except the engine.
All right. Hello and welcome back to the Collective Minds podcast. Cash for Clunkers. So I keep seeing videos about it. People keep bringing it back up. Big deal during the Obama years, right? And it sounded like a sweet deal back then. Give us your crappy old cars, grandmas, poor people, and we'll give you a chunk of change for it. Looks like they started running out of money for it. That's how many people did it. Conspiracy theory here. They were taking the old vehicles that were easy to fix, that you could do, that everyone could do in their backyard. You look at new vehicles now, even new mechanics, you have to be specialized. It's almost like becoming a doctor now, where by the time you get done with medical school, everything's changed, and everything you learn doesn't matter anymore because everything's changed. Technology has advanced, and that's exactly what happened with the vehicles. Conspiracy theory is that they did it because of an EMP. I lean into that, as well as tracking and tracing you. So new vehicles today, right? Tesla, they can just shut you down on the side of the road. They could lock you in your car. Light it on fire as well. Combust. But you're locked in until the police arrive and, shake you down for the money you owe us. It's not a free world. And it never has been, but now it is becoming less of a free world. This was control. This move was. Absolutely. Within the past few years, people have started buying older vehicles that they can find. And they used to be plenty. Used to be a plentiful selection of older vehicles. I own one. And I love that it barely has sensors. It has some, but not like today. It doesn't take a computer for it to run. But, with an EMP, it would be mostly just the battery you gotta worry about. With new vehicles, everything's fried. With new vehicles, they can stop you on the side of the road. It tells you where you are. Right after this is when they started having the, it would be a button you pushed. Can't remember what it was called. But you would push a button and it would start talking to you, and it would call emergency services, and we all thought that was really cool. We felt safe, even though it wouldn't work everywhere, right? But it would work. Starlink? No, not Starlink. It was Blue something. Anyway, but it would call emergency services for you, and that seemed very beneficial. And it's also when they started putting GPS locators inside of these vehicles, and they advertised it as, we're helping you keep your family safe. And they always go for the nitty gritty, the things that matter the most. Family. That's what you'll see. So let's jump into that just a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit deeper in this one. So if you'll stay with me, we're not just talking about Cash for Clunkers. And they seem to be doing this with a lot of things. They introduce new tech, push it along. All of a sudden there's more new tech, and you better get on the bandwagon and then they force you to do it. So, the Car Allowance Rebate Program, CARS, or Cash for Clunkers, was a $3 billion U.S. federal scrappage program intended to provide economic incentives, right? Like during the Joe Biden years. We're not going to make gasoline vehicles anymore. We're going to make it illegal. You're going all electric, which is more damaging to the earth and super expensive and dangerous, we've now found out. Incentivizing people, U.S. residents, to purchase a new, more fuel-efficient vehicle when trading in a less fuel-efficient vehicle. The program was promoted as a post-recession stimulus program to boost auto sales. So, right after 2008. That's what we're calling it, recession. During the Obama years, had declined due to the 2008 financial crisis. Yep, and the automotive industry crisis. So they needed you to spend the money that they were going to give you on a new vehicle. That was the kickstart there. You have to spend it on this. We're going to help you put a down payment on something that's too expensive, breaks easier, so it ends up being, even more expensive. And then we can track and trace you. So it started in July 1st of 2009. Processing of claims began in July 24th, and the program ended on August 24th, 2009, as the appropriated funds were exhausted, having scrapped 677,000 vehicles. That's a lot of cars. The deadline for dealers to submit applications was August 25th. According to estimates of the Department of Transportation, the initial $1 billion appropriated for the system was exhausted by July 30th of 2009, well before the anticipated end date of November 1st, 2009, due to a very high demand. In response, Congress approved an additional $2 billion. Now, I remember when I was a kid, and I remember George Bush coming out and going, "We're going to give every American $100," and everyone's like, "Yeah, that's so cool. We've never seen this before." This is Obama's version of that. We're going to take your piece of crap and you need to get something new. Something with technology in it. Something that needs electronics to work. Something that if an EMP hit, you'd be screwed. Economist Alan Blinder helped popularize the idea of a scrappage program and the moniker Cash for Clunkers with his July 2008 op-ed piece in New York Times. Blinder argued that a Cash for Clunkers program would have a three-pronged purpose of helping the environment, stimulating the economy, and reducing economic inequality. So, not only are you going to be doing the world a favor by driving something more economic, right? But it's going to help poor people. Yeah. It's going to benefit everybody. 360 win right here. Let us destroy the things that were cheap, reliable, and impossible for them to control. That's what this was. An alternative bill proposed by Dianne Feinstein, Susan Collins, and Chuck Schumer would have had a greater focus on increasing fuel economy. Proponents argue that the alternative bill would lead to a 32% more efficient improvements than the House program. The alternative bill would have required that the trade-in vehicle have a fuel economy rating of 17 miles per gallon or less, and offered a three-tiered voucher system ranging from $2,500 for a new car that is 7 miles per gallon, more efficient than a trade-in to $4,500 for one that is 13 miles to 16 miles per gallon more efficient. Very interesting. So that's the idea behind this. Is that they incentivized financially people to get rid of what they owned for something they no longer own that they can control. And it reminds me of what Apple's been doing, right? So Apple's been paying people an excess amount of money for older phones. Says with some items worth over $1,000. Here's what to do. When was this? 2026. So they were just doing it a year or two ago as well, and they were paying mega bucks for really old phones, like iPhone 12s. I think it was maybe iPhone 12s, 13s or under, giving people insane deals. Why would they want these phones back? Well, because they don't have the technology in them that they want them to have in them. Now your iPhone and other phones, GPS satellite tracking constantly. Something they can do, and I'm sure there's other tech in there as well. I mean, what they just had beepers exploding a year ago. What do you think they can do with your brand new iPhone, which it has the same battery in it, right? The same kind of battery as your electric car that's exploding on the side of the road that people, firefighters can't put out. What happens when that's pressed against your face? And I guarantee you, if you're watching this right now, how often do you actually pick your phone up and put it to your ear? You don't do it often. And I'm going to tell you why. You can feel it. There's something wrong with that. It like starts growing, like a growing headache that starts happening. Something's going on with the radiation, the technology we have today. It used to not be that way. Flip phones, always to the ear. We made fun of our grandmas for walking around on speakerphone. Now you never see anybody holding it to their ear. And if they do, it's not going to be a long conversation. Unless it's like a secretive one. They have reasons for not doing it. It's easy to trade in your eligible device for credit towards your next purchase or get an Apple gift card you can use anytime. And if your devices aren't eligible to earn you credit, Apple says it will recycle your items for free. For free. Look at that. No matter the model or condition, we can turn it into something good for you and good for the planet. There we go. You're going to help the planet. It's going to help you, and it's going to help poor people. It's the same kind of thing. This isn't the only one, people. They're doing this all over the board. They're trying to force the technology on you by giving you the chance, giving incentives. Oh, the newest iPhone is free. All you got to do is sign up and sign a contract. That's it. Why are they doing that? You need to ask yourself, why is the government giving you tax incentives to go green when you look at what it actually is and it's not green? It's incredible. Interesting and kind of scary. People need to start thinking about this. Apple lists the maximum potential trade-in value for devices, and the numbers are significant. Up to $650 for an iPhone 14 Pro Max, $1,070 for a MacBook Pro, and $340 for a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra 5G. There are two ways to trade in your devices. You can return them via mail using a prepaid trade-in kit that Apple will mail to you for free. Why are they doing this? Or you can take in your devices to trade in at an Apple store. Like other trade-in programs, once your item has been assessed, you'll receive your credit as a gift card that you can use on any Apple product. Or if you're buying a new item, Apple will put your old device credit towards the new purchase. So they're making their money back, getting what they want, and getting the technology back. 360 win for somebody, right? So let's jump in. What happens if an EMP just all of a sudden? A large electromagnetic pulse or a sudden burst of electromagnetic radiation can interfere with electronics and damage parts of the electrical grid. These events may be caused by a high-altitude nuclear explosion or by powerful solar activity interacting with Earth's magnetic field. Modern life depends on electricity. Our homes, vehicles, communication, food systems all rely on a vast network of electronic devices, power lines, and connected electronic systems. Most of the time, this infrastructure works reliably in the background. Now, we've talked about this quite a few times on this podcast about survival. It's an insane amount of percentage of the population of the entire world that would die if the power went out. We are not built for it in the first world. We're going first. It's not just from riots. People can't function. People don't know how to survive. And that's what we've covered. It's a big deal. In the third world, they're gone as well. It's the only thing keeping them going. We're not going to dive too far into this. So, when this energy reaches the ground, it can interact with metal objects, wiring, and electronic equipment. Long conductors like power lines can act like antennas, collecting energy and sending damaging surges into connected systems. In strong events, the surge may disrupt electronic devices, damage electronic systems, trip circuit breakers, interfere with communications equipment, and damage transformers on the electrical grid. Most EMP events do not directly harm people. Instead, the danger comes from the disruption of the modern infrastructure. Absolutely. We'll jump over to this one. Governor Abbott announces a $149 million cybersecurity grant to Texas Tech University. Right here. The strategic investment strengthens ongoing efforts to safeguard the nation by advancing research that addresses escalating threats to critical infrastructure across Texas and the United States. This $149 million investment in cybersecurity will ensure that our state's critical infrastructure systems are capable of withstanding attacks from hostile foreign adversaries, says Governor Abbott. The researchers at Texas Tech lead the nation in safeguarding critical infrastructure from hackers and hostile foreign actors and domestic. I'm telling you right there. There's a missing word. Through initiatives like the Texas Cyber Command and investments into the safety and security of our state, Texas is on the path to be a national leader in cybersecurity. Texas knows something. Texas isn't the best friend of the rest of the U.S. and the federal government. They know something is coming. They've been talking about it for years. The blackouts. It's been a warning for years. Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates. Bill Gates said the next COVID, the next epidemic, the next pandemic will be something like this. And starting to look like it may be sooner than we think. So, blackouts in the news. Blackouts and health fears grip Cuba. So if you don't know, Cuba's facing major blackouts. Apparently not this one. Trump lets Cuba receive oil. Here's why it will still face blackouts. Protests erupt again in Cuba amid blackouts as Diaz-Canel warns U.S. to stay away. Another night of protests has been reported in Cuba as frustrations grows over prolonged blackouts and worsening living conditions across the islands. Videos circulating on social media show residents in Santiago de Cuba. Where are we? Banging pots and pans, a form of protest known as Cacerolosa, as they demand electricity and relief from the ongoing crisis. The demonstrations mark another night of visible unrest, driven by widespread power outages and deepening economic hardships. This is not an accident. We're going for Cuba. This isn't technology that we need to be worried about our adversaries using against us. This is obviously, to me, what our own government plans to do if we get out of line. We don't need to be worried about a nuclear bomb or people showing up at your door. All they got to do is flip a switch, and they'll blame it on a solar flare. Everyone needs to be prepared, because it looks like this kind of technology, weaponry is being used, and that's our favorite. That's our favorite, hurricane, earthquake happens to a country that coincidentally didn't agree to allow someone into NATO. And it's just Mother Nature. They won't say they did it. They never will. They'll blame it on the sun or someone else. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments, and if you know more about the Cash for Clunkers or anything else out there that's a little suspicious, how they're trying to pay you too much money to advance yourself into technology. Catch you on the next one.